Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. This is Sipping Tea with Nat Z. I'm Nat.
And I am Z.
What's up? How you doing?
I'm good. This new schedule that we have, I think works the best for the both of us.
Yeah.
We get to, do a little bit more prepping with the episodes themselves. And then we get to take care of some much needed personal things that we have to take care of. So I hope our listeners are also taking the time that we have to catch up
to some of our podcasts. Thanks. I hope some of y'all are doing that and using those weeks in between to catch up on some of that quick sips and check out some of the stuff online on IG. So thanks for all our listeners. We appreciate you.
Yes, we greatly appreciate it. I mean, the new listeners that we've gotten over the last couple of weeks, welcome.
Welcome.
To our day ones. What's that? So let's go ahead and jump into the tea of the day because we have a lot to discuss because today's episode is being Black at work, which I know we all can identify with. Well, most of us. So, disclaimer. We're not tea experts. You should speak to your doctor when drinking herbal tea, as there are potential side effects when mixed with some medications. This should not be a substitute for medication, not affiliated with any of these companies, nor are these endorsements as of yet. So what are we drinking, Natalie?
Okay, so today we have ginger mint fusion green tea.
Yummy.
From the Tanzania collection. I had some of this, a couple of cups of this last week. It's quite tasty, I must say. So it's a wild but perfect balance of green tea, mint leaves, ginger, and rosemary to soothe and recenter you. The ingredients are rolled green tea, mint leaves, grated ginger, and a little bit of rosemary, and it does have caffeine. So check it out. It's lovely. Has give you a little kick in the morning or whenever if you need a little pick-me-up.
Yeah, that seems like a good something good to drink in the afternoon when you get that slump during the work day.
Time.
Ooh, I hit that. But you need to be but you be careful because if you're someone who's sensitive to caffeine, then drinking that at 2 p.m. may have you up at 2 a.m.
This is true. This is so true.
So. Because I'm not sensitive to, well, let me rephrase that. I am sensitive to caffeine as far as my stomach is concerned. I am not sensitive to caffeine as far as my sleep is concerned. I could probably drink 5 cups of coffee, 5 cups of tea, and still go to sleep.
Oh, wow. And I don't even drink that much caffeine, and I'll still just be like, yeah, we're going to stay up, but then try to go to sleep, and then we're going to try to stay up, and it just doesn't work out for me. It doesn't work.
I wish that we were COVID-free because I would come to your house and grab a couple bags of this, but I think I may order it because I do like ginger. I don't know. Ginger and mint for me together is good with my stomach issues. So I think this perfect blend of these two things will probably help out in that area.
It's quite fragrant as well.
Fragrance.
That's a good nose.
All right. Well, then let's move from that tea to some more hot tea. So the Gorilla Glue saga has finally come to an end. Again, I'll say this. Initially, I had no empathy for her whatsoever. And then when I did realize that she really wasn't doing it for clout and that the education system has just failed this woman.
That part.
I felt a little bit like, okay.
More empathy for her?
I had a little bit more empathy. And there's a lot of other stuff going on. Some deep-seated, my personal opinion, self-esteem issues because of some of the things she said after she got the glue out her hair. So, but she was able to get the glue out of her hair for free.
Right.
A renowned celebrity plastic surgeon, Michael Obeng, he was able to save her locks during a hours-long procedure with like medical grade acetone, like olive oil, some other stuff. It's saline solution, all this other stuff. So he's able to save her hair. They told her she had to wait 6 weeks before putting anything in it. She says as soon as the 6 weeks is up, she's going to get a long weave. So, I mean, clearly she has not learned her lesson about just giving her scalp and her head a break.
There's some other, like you said, deep-seated things.
Yes.
Yeah.
She was able to raise through a GoFundMe $20,000. The GoFundMe was under investigation. I think everything is okay now, but she said she had planned on donating that money to an organization that helps with plastic surgery for people who can't afford it, that like need it for like things that have happened, like accidents and other traumatic events. So I thought that was good. And she did clarify in an interview that she had never intended to sue Gorilla Glue. So she doesn't even understand where that narrative came from. That was never her intention. She never said that. So, I mean, she got the glue out of her hair. She's rocking a shortcut like me. So good for her.
Best of luck to her.
Yes. Best of luck. The founding member of the Fat Boys, Prince Marky D, has died at the age of 52. There's no cause of death as of yet. But his manager did talk to TMZ, and his manager indicated that he had some heart issues before his death. So, you know, the Fat Boys, I remember, you know, very fondly. I loved the Fat Boys. I forgot that movie they were in. What is it? Oh, they were in Baps?
Yes, they were.
But they were in that other movie. What was it? The Orderlies or the Disorderlies, where they were like
Disorderlies. That was like their headline. That was their headline movie. I think that's what got them Baps.
That was
or the
hilarious.
Other way around.
No, I think that is what got them Baps. So that was hilarious. So, you know, prayers for his family, because I know this is a very challenging time to be going through this. So, Raphael Edward Cruz, Raphael Edward Cruz, because I'm gonna call you what your mama named you, not Ted Cruz, decided that it was good to take a trip to Cancun.
Of course. It's not like his state had some stuff going on.
No,
I think there might have been something going on in Texas that
something like people are freezing to death. Yeah, no power, no water, but hey, you know.
And they're gonna blame it on. Is it? Go ahead, girl.
He blamed it on his kids. First, he said he was going to Cancun to drop his children off or his daughters off.
Not an overnight bag.
Exactly. Then saying he was going to come right back. But they pulled the receipts. This fool hadn't planned on coming back for days.
Ding, ding, ding.
Days. Had his damn security guard at the development he lives in watch his damn dog Snowflake. Snowflake, did you see that picture of Snowflake
looking out the window? Like, I can't believe y'all left me. Y'all know I'm cold, right? Because you did say it was cold in this house, but you gonna make me think. Because I'm gonna snitch on you now.
Left that damn dog out, like just sitting in a window, like
just sad.
So
poor thing.
Poor thing. Group text messages was released. Whoever is in his friend circle, I mean,
wow, y'all
he need
no more. I can tell you that.
He needed a new click because clearly they was like, run here. Y'all want to see this fool who definitely decided to go.
It was $300 at the Ritz-Carlton.
So
come on down. Come on down. Oh my gosh.
But he came back and faced backlash as he should. I just hope that Texans remember this in 2024 because that's when he's up for re-election. So I just hope y'all remember this, that Ted Cruz don't give a shit about y'all at all. Don't. Never so did, never will.
And then I don't know if you saw on the Daily Show, they did a whole montage of him talking about everybody else golfing, not being feeling some sort of way or feeling some sort of empathy for his people and all this other mess. I was like, ain't nobody like him. No way. I heard.
No. I think he's going. I personally believe he has sealed the last. I personally believe he sealed the last nail in his coffin. Now, again, people's memories are short, until 2024 he might be reelected again. But I think because of how Texas has been turning, they've been very close in these races the last few years. That is a possibility. And what we've seen with Georgia, I mean, Arizona, you never know. Yeah. So we'll see. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. So Buckingham recently released a statement stating that the couple is officially done with their royal duties and that stepping away from the work of the royal family it's not possible to continue with the responsibilities and duties that come with a life of public service. So I said, that is a very interesting statement. Right. Well, I guess Meghan and Harry felt the same because they clapped back and said, sis, miss me with all that. We can all live a life of service. Service is universal.
Boom.
And so as I was looking at this, I said, there is a dichotomy. There's a distinct dichotomy between how the U.S. reports on them and how the UK reports on them. And I fully feel like Buckingham Palace, the Prince William, Prince Charles, the Queen, they're really out of touch. Because to think that they can only be of service to the public is through the royal family is like absurd to me.
Beyond.
They don't need to be a part of the royal family to contribute to society in any way. And dare I say, they probably can contribute more not being part of the royal family.
He went his mom's route.
He did. And, you know, we don't have anything like royalty here. So it's possible. That's why we look at it through a different lens. Yeah. And England has had royalty since
forever.
But I do see why personally he would want to leave and protect his wife and his child, because the way that the UK reports it, you would think that this is like the end of the world. Like, how dare you turn your back on the royal family and you leave with this black woman and go to the trash. Yeah. The trash of the globe, the US. Like, honestly, because let's keep it 100. The UK, they look down on us.
Yeah.
And rightfully so.
We've earned that.
We've earned it. America is trash. Okay.
That condescension.
We are trash. Everything about us is absolute trash, right? So we understand that. So they turn their noses up to us. So you leave with this American actress.
Yeah. Black
American actress. And you go and you live in America. I get it. But there is a nastiness in the way that they are reporting they're leaving. And if you've watched The Crown, it's really like his uncle. I think that's his uncle or his great uncle. Who was it? It was the king's brother that was the king at first.
Undercut that
and left to be with that other the lady that was married like 6 times.
Yes, him.
And they never gave this man respect.
Ever.
He was treated as an outcast. And I mean, looking at it, he was trash because he was a Nazi sympathizer.
Yes. But
still, just because he chose to love this woman, they were not because he was a Nazi sympathizer, because it was literally because
because she was divorced thrice or twice times. not exactly. Isn't that that's messed up?
Yes.
Sympathize with the Nazis. That's okay. But he's married a divorcee.
Oh, how dare you?
Oh my God.
You bring shame to the royal family.
For shame. For shame.
Excuse me.
Game of Thrones. For shame.
Yeah. And then lastly, water's wet, the sky is blue. Kim and Kanye are getting divorced. So we said it. I said it a long time ago. If you're getting divorced, just say that. Stop saying you're spending time apart. They're saying it's amicable, and Kim wanted to do this last year, but then he had his breakdown.
Right.
Remember when she went to Wyoming to get him because he was trying to run for president. So she wanted to do it then, but she felt that doing it then would be cruel. So she waited until Beyonce dropped her Ivy Park line and decided
and then told everybody. Rationale. That's my marketing strategy.
She decided to do it when Beyonce dropped her Icy Park. And that's all I got. So
wow. Well, that's enough. We're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll jump right into our Tea Time segment. And we're back. So, Today, as Z mentioned, we're talking about being black at work, and what all that entails. For some of us, we kind of think of these things in our sleep. It's just kind of how we accept life, but we're going to go into some different aspects today. So just to start off, just giving you some questions to think about to provide context for this episode. What would it feel like to walk into a room and be the only one that looked like you? How comfortable would you be when being asked about your experience or opinion on a marketing thing as a representative of the community? And then, when you're expected to participate in conversations, everyone is like, well, what do you think? Well, you're black. How do you feel about this? As if you are the spokesperson for black people all around the world. And then not being able to talk about things that happen at work or in the social media realm. And then you're at work and you have to just walk around and be like, because you can't really talk about how this really affects you. So all of those things, it's daunting. And there was a study done by the Center for Talent Innovation, and they made comments about black professionals are more likely to encounter prejudice and microaggressions than any other racial or ethnic group.
I believe that.
Let that sink in for a minute, right? They're less likely than their white counterparts to have access to senior leaders and to have support from their managers. Yet few white professionals see what their black colleagues are up against. It's said that 65% of black professionals say that black employees have to work harder in order to advance. So, starting there, I'm sure all of you at some point have sensed this, talked about this with friends, seen it on TV. It's a daunting. Exactly. What Z just said. What Z just said.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, it's just so many things that have the fact that there has to be studies on this alone, and that we've come to the point where we experience racial prejudice at work, and some of our coworkers have no idea that this is even going on due to some of the privilege that they aren't aware that they have, and they just cannot see it through other folks' eyes. They've been at work and people talk about certain things that are racially insensitive, and I think this hits a nerve sometimes now. I mean, even pre-COVID, with the rise of the Black Lives Matter movement and some of, the issues with Colin Kaepernick, because I know that was a volatile topic for people at work. There's so many people, I think, that they were split, and it caused unspoken tension when that type of conversation came up, and they had to be in the presence of their coworkers.
Oh, absolutely. I would think even if you bring it to present day, even though we are in a time of COVID, the insurrection, I think that has also shown a clear divide in the workplace. I was in a meeting and someone casually joked, we were in a Zoom meeting and they had a green screen, and the green screen was the Oval Office. And they said, "Hey, do you see Speaker Pelosi's podium back there?" And people chuckled. I didn't find that funny at all. And I'm thinking to myself, is this really a joke? And the individual said it was a white man. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, if no one else sees how inappropriate this is,
on multiple levels.
On multiple levels.
Multiple levels. Some people don't know, that's how they maybe express sarcasm, or they just are totally clueless, have no grip, or totally out of touch.
Well, when we were talking about that study, it's apparent that they are out of touch, because even the study said that black professionals are nearly 4 times as likely as their white counterparts to say that they've experienced racial prejudice at work. Excuse me. And then if you break it down by the region, I mean, I think some of us who live on the East Coast, let me rephrase that, the Northern Hemisphere of the East Coast, we've experienced maybe less of this. Not to say that we haven't experienced it, but there are regional differences.
Very much so.
I feel like if you're in the Midwest or the South, you're probably going to have more instances of microaggression and prejudice in your workplace.
And just outright blatant.
Yes. I think that you are going to find that, you know, if you're looking in your own environment where you are right now, how many people of color, specifically Black people, are in the top positions at your company?
Yes. And what is the path to that? Is that even open? Are there, do they have mentors or anything like that to even see, to follow? And I think maybe someone listening may be like, well, so what does that matter? Representation matters.
It does matter.
It matters so much.
Yes.
And I think people don't realize.
They don't. And then when you start to break it down to when we're talking about Black women specifically, because again, we're talking about being Black at work, but we're talking about it from our own experiences, our own shared experiences. And we're Black females. So we can speak on it in general, but then speak on the specifics of what it's like to be a Black woman in the workplace. And I know I've experienced it, that Black women are less likely to have the same access to the same support and advocacy as white women. And I know some people are like, oh, this is like beating a dead horse, but I've experienced this, and we're in 2021. I've experienced this in 2019.
Yes. And so people think that you even saying that, some people, like that one episode where we said that some people look to be offended. And some people may hear this. We're not saying you specifically listeners, but there's some people that may hear these stats and say that we're looking to be troublemakers, which is a whole other issue down later that we're going to talk about. But the fact that they don't even understand that this timetable is 2019. Yeah. And the stuff is still happening.
Yes. And if you are not a person of color and you're listening to us, I'm going to just automatically assume that you are an ally. And so I hope that when you're listening to this, that you take a look at your own workplace and your own work environment and kind of see where these things that we're talking about may actually be in play. And then think about things that you can do to improve the work environment and the workplace for your colleagues and coworkers, because that's where it starts. You know, yes, the executives need to get on board, but your colleagues and coworkers really do lend that support to you and that support system. And it makes a huge difference. So we're not trying to isolate or alienate any of our listeners, but we hope that you take this information and use it to better the world around you. Because, you know, when Black people wake up to go to work, there's so much on our minds.
The mental gymnastics that has to be gone through.
You don't understand it unless you live it. We have to think about what we're going to wear, right? Because we all, women especially, are born with natural curves. So if you're wearing something that's showing off too much, as they say, you could be shamed. And it doesn't matter. A pair of jeans, a dress, it doesn't matter. A skirt, anything. We have to think about how we're going to style our hair.
The hair thing alone.
We just talked about the last episode, I think the Crown Act. The fact that we are in the year of our Lord 2021, and there are still states that have not enacted the Crown Act, saying that you cannot discriminate on an employee based on what their hair looks like. Are you kidding me? I have to decide how I'm going to wear my hair.
That naturally grows out of my scalp.
Naturally. And we're Gen X, right? So unfortunately, Gen Xers, and if you're a Gen X, you've experienced this. Your parents or your grandparents probably brainwashed you a little bit and thinking you had to wear your hair a certain way to be taken seriously in the workplace. Don't wear your natural hair. You might want to straighten it. You might want it to look more quote unquote presentable.
Right. That presentable word, because I've seen that firsthand.
Yes.
My goodness.
I remember when I first started work, I got micro braids. This is when micro braids were still like pop. And my grandma was alive. And my grandma said, is you going to work like that? Yeah. Oh, well, you need to pull it back and put it in a bun or something. Huh? Right. I couldn't understand it, but then I realized my grandma's from a whole totally different generation. you know.
Yeah, it was their way of protecting us because they knew
yes,
what would happen. But in that
yes,
way, we didn't think about it because they're telling us this to protect us from what they went through.
exactly.
Right.
You know, we've had to be told, "Oh, your hair is exotic, or it's different, or
Oh,
it's fun."
yes. I changed my hair all the time at work growing up, like when I started in the corporate world. And this one lady at a staff meeting said to me, "It is such a joy to come in and see what your hair is going to be like today." I was like, "Oh, okay." And I was like, "Oh, thanks." Or the is that real? No, good and well. You done had a bob last week, and this week your stuff is all the way down to your butt. Or you come in and your hair is short. Oh my God, I can't believe you cut off all that hair. Okay, sure. Whatever.
Sure, let's go with that.
We're gonna go
let's
with that.
go with that. I remember. So if you know me, like my grandmother, there's a couple things that my grandmother instilled in me and my sister. One of the things that she was like big on was like personal self-care. My grandmom's nails, toes, hair, always done. Now, granted, she had a Jerry curl, but that's besides the point. Or what she called it innovation.
Innovation.
When she got older, she just rocked a small fro. But I mean, grandma always looked well put together. Okay.
Right.
So if there's one thing you want to see me, my nails, my feet, always going to be done. Yes. And if put like this, my friends have said, if my nails ain't done, I'm going through something.
You're like, I'm going what's going on? You all right, see?
I'm either broke or I'm depressed. It's one of the two.
Otherwise, her nails are always done.
So I remember getting this really, and I don't like just plain colors. I like sometimes getting like the intricate little designs and not like super out of control, but you ladies know I'm talking about the foil or matte or whatever. And I remember coming to a meeting and my nails were done like that. And there was so many comments on my nails as if like, what the heck, like this is something that was just like, oh wow, that's very interesting. That's very different. That's this. Mind you, this whole white girl, my colleague, came in with her whole head dyed pink and ain't nobody say shit to her.
At all.
At all. Whole head dyed pink. And she is, at this point, we were both supervisors. Her whole head was dyed pink. And ain't nobody say shit. They didn't mention it. You would have thought it wasn't even a thing. But heaven forbid, I had one design on my nail. Oh Lord. I'm surprised it didn't make the damn job notices.
I'll be at the next week updates. In other news, has changed the nail color and added some design. You can pass by her office for a showing at said time.
Excuse me. And we're making a joke about this because we can, but this is the shit that we have to go through at work.
Yes.
Makeup. Ooh, child.
Ooh, Lord. And this was before we have bat wings for eyelashes.
Yes. Makeup is a big thing. My grandmother told me, don't ever wear red because that's what hoes wear.
Yes, mine too. My mom was like,
nails, lips.
Don't wear nothing red because you're talking about you suggestive.
Yes, you a lady of the night if you wearing red. And I remember coming to work and I would see my colleagues that are non-POCs wearing red lips. Makeup eyebrows did everything. Done. And I'm like, so it's okay for them. I put on a red lip and heaven forbid. But girl, guess what?
You Jezebel.
A bitch like me gonna wear a red lip and you just gonna get over it, okay?
Because my lips be popping.
As long as the lip bar and Rihanna make a popping red, you gonna see me in a red lip. Now, I'm not just saying that you should just be coming to work all like, well, you come to work how you want to come to work. Right. But I would say our makeup makes us, it turns us into sexual creatures. Yes. It sexualizes
We're objectified.
We are. If we put on a red lip, it's suggestive.
Like we're a video vixen.
Right.
And then ratting videos.
Exactly. And it's like, why can't I wear a red lip? Right. If I want to wear a red lip, why can't it be professional on me? Why is it professional on her, but on me, I'm like asking for something, a nightcap.
Right. Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly, Z. Oh, you want a nightcap? How you doing tonight? Yes. Why does all of that have to fall out of just having a red lip?
Exactly. How we speak. AAVE. You know what I'm saying? Or we got a code switch, which we can have a whole conversation on at another time.
Yes.
Code switching is big.
Huge.
We have to watch how we talk. I was told one time that sometimes your point doesn't come across because you use your hands too much.
So?
Huh?
I'm a mom, bitch. Take this. What?
So basically what you're trying to say is I'm aggressive? I'm being aggressive?
Right.
So literally I would talk, like try to put my hands in my pockets if I had pockets, when I would try to.
I don't understand. They thought that you were going to jump them in the middle.
I don't know. I don't know.
We're expressive people.
Yes.
We have soul. We have when we talk. We just enjoy. It gets the idea across.
Yes. For politicians, politicians use their hands all the time. But I'll tell you, if you study, I saw this on it. If you study hand gestures, if you study body movement, look at how Obama used his hands, his body language compared to his counterparts. Mm-hmm. Totally different.
Completely. Right. He did not.
Totally different.
He couldn't move and people be like, oh my goodness. Because I think that the reaction is the jump back. Or the grabbing the purse, or that's just those types of things we have to even think about.
But yeah, you're right, Nat. I mean, we do have to do, I would say, taking your hand and snatching, dreams out the sky. That's not good. But, I don't think necessarily using my hands is a gesture that I'm trying to be aggressive towards you.
Right.
But hey, and then lastly, what we eat or what we bring for lunch. I mean, y'all don't think that that's an issue. Yeah. But if you're sharing a common space with people and you're heating up Thanksgiving dinner, which was greens and sweet potatoes and stuffing and turkey, those smells start to permeate. And it's not just us. There are other people of color who are also mindful about what they heat up at work and what they bring because of the stigma and stereotype that is associated with that. You have to be careful because we think, okay, if I do this, I'm perpetrating a trite stereotype.
Yes.
And I don't want to do that.
Right. But the fact that we even have to have that conversation that we can't live our lives, that these are things that our coworkers have no idea about. It does not resonate with them. And I guess we can't expect them to a point because that's not the lives we live, because this is our everyday. Because at one of my places of employment, I had a mentor at the point where she would ask me questions. Like, we literally had this conversation. She's like, can I ask you something? But I don't know if I can because I don't want it to come off as racist. And she tried not. She was like, why is it that black people? I'm like, first of all, I am not the representative for black people. She's like, but she's like, okay, see, that's, I don't know how to phrase this. Like, she was really nervous and she was trying to figure out how to better connect with people of color, I guess. And she's like, sometimes we live in areas where we don't see people of color. So we don't understand. We don't have these conversations. We're not introduced. We don't have like a person of color mentor to tell us what to say and not to say. Because she's like, we don't know what we don't know. And then when we ask somebody about something of their culture, they get offended like we should know. And because we already know we're already whitewashed in the history system in school, there's only certain contexts that we're presented in as well as in media.
Right.
So I kind of I understood what she was saying because at that point it was a teaching moment. Here, this is a supervisor, a white woman, and she's trying to ask me about how to relate better to people of color to make it a better workplace for us. And she was fumbling over her words because she's like, I don't want to offend you, but I don't know how to ask this question.
Right.
To have this conversation and tell my fellow staff how to navigate this.
Right.
So I appreciated the way she came at me, because I get if she would have asked another person, it could have gone left, and somebody might have taken offense to, well, how come you don't know that, you should take time to understand. And she's like, but I'm trying to take time to understand, but I don't know how to have this conversation.
But even with that, the fact that you said that she was a mentor.
Yeah.
I mean, those are some workplace challenges that we have.
Yes.
I mean, finding a mentor is one of the basics.
Yeah. Representation matters. The mentors are there to help you navigate the difficulties of that workplace, and coping with racial stereotypes and having those side conversations and those facial expressions, those unspoken cultural norms of when you're in the workplace, to have someone kind of give you that nod or the eye to say, do that, not do that. And to have that communication and the body language is invaluable. But if there are no mentors, then how do you navigate that?
Right.
And then that whole, like I said, the whole representative of your entire racial group. I went to an all white high school. I was the only black girl in my high school. And this question he was like, why is it that black girls, when they ask something, they have to do the whole neck rolling thing? I said, I'm sorry, I'm not the representative for the black people. I have nothing to do with that. So those things, come into play, though, when people, you got to think about this, when people are getting ready to hire. These questions translate into people when they're hiring. And they may have these unspoken biases.
Yes.
When they come into the workplace, they're like, oh, I may not want to hire this person based on our names and how colorful and exotic as they may see and unique they may be. But it only is for like us as black people. Because if you're from Russia and you come in with the name of Vladivostok something, they don't even bat an eye. But if you come in with Bumquisha's Bumper Curl, Renisha, Quisha, your names are joined together with your mama and your daddy, your application may tend to just be like, you know what? I just don't think I want to go deal with this.
Well, if you look at it, that's why a lot of other races and ethnicities, they change their names to fit in with the norm. Hello, I just told you Ted Cruz' real name ain't Ted Cruz. His real name is Raphael. But he changed it to be what? More, he wanted to have a closer proximity to whiteness.
Yes. As white as the white is right.
Yes.
Type of methodology.
Asians do it all the time.
All the time. All the time. You go to the nail salon, you go look at their license. It is not Susie for sitting in front of you. You know that, right?
But I've had a conversation with individuals who are of Asian descent that said that that's what they do.
Exactly.
To not be, they come here to assimilate as much as possible. But assimilating isn't assimilating in general to be just an American. It is to have a close proximity to whiteness.
And if you're white, of course, you don't think about that.
No.
You don't have to. So this may be coming out of left field, like to our non people of color listeners, like, what do you mean assimilation? But they will pick up on it, like you said, with the name change if you're from another country. For some folks. So, and that comes with that, you also have to think about how do you emotionally manage all of these things? Because if you're getting unspoken bias or inherent and suffering from or experiencing inherent bias, you have to manage your emotions and what's going on when you encounter that, because you don't want people to, I guess, see you popping off as some people stereotype that we would have to. Because if we don't manage our emotions, then we're seen as either a threat or a troublemaker or something negative. But let someone else have an outburst at work and storm through and flipping tables, all of that.
I've seen that happen at my job.
And what happened?
That person ain't get in trouble.
They didn't get walked out. They weren't seen as a threat. They weren't seen as being too aggressive or being too assertive.
Nope.
And we have seen where that is not the case when you have a little bit more melanin in your skin. But then even moving on to that, because looking at sexism, because we already know that exists in the workplace, right down to how much we all make per dollar. And then you break that further down with our race. And then how does that come into play in your workplace? Because we understand women are expected to conform to a male dominated society and workplace, and the behavioral norms that come with that.
The patriarchy.
Yes, it's a patriarchy. But then you add on top of that being a black woman. And now we have to conform for our hair, what we wear, our makeup, and now our behavioral norms and how we respond and how we manage our emotions.
Mm-hmm.
That is just on top of everything. And oh, by the way, we still have to do our job.
Yeah.
And expected to do it well.
Yes.
And
expected to do it well.
Exactly. Not like, oh, okay, it's going to work out, but expected to do it well. And then comparing men and women and the discrimination that women face as it is. And then you just put the being black on top of it, and what comes with how people view you and your presentation at work, and if you're suggestive or you're judgable, and then you're going into work with all of those things already coming at you.
Mm-hmm.
And then for our black men, that is a whole other topic that takes a slant on how do they bond with white men in the workplace, because they also have to think about what is their upward mobility look like,
right?
You know.
And I would say this, when we're talking about sexism in the workplace, and we're talking about how black women tend to have, I mean, we have a double negative, right? We are women in the workplace, and then we're black in the workplace. I'm looking at this study that's saying that women are leaving the workforce in droves during COVID. But I'd be very interested to see and break it down what women are leaving the workplace in droves. Because I guarantee you it's not black women. We don't have a choice to leave the workforce in droves. We don't. We don't. So yeah, white women are probably leaving the workforce because of COVID, because of childcare and things like that. But black women have to work.
Exactly.
We don't have the luxury of deciding that we're not going to work and stay. Because I'm going to tell you what, when they said that, I was like, where? Bitch, where? Because all my friends still working with kids.
Thank you.
I got a 2-year-old at home. And I'm still working. I'm not leaving the workforce. And I'm not saying that to discount or discredit anybody else, but there has to be a level of sensitivity when we're talking about these things. You need to dissect what you're talking about.
And what that sample size consists of.
Right. Because it's only a national, what do they call it? Not a national trend. It's it's a national issue. It's something that they have to deal with. Right. But they only are saying that because it's white women. Because I guarantee you if it was a woman of color, they wouldn't give a shit. Oh, they leave in the workplace. Okay, they'll be fine.
Right.
They'll be fine. They'll figure it out.
We're not counted in that.
No.
And our fellow brown and black sisters that are also on the front lines are experiencing this as well. They are definitely not, because they're not leaving. Workers. They're not leaving. They're not.
I don't know any Latin people that are leaving the workforce. They don't have the option of the
Think about who took the poll, though.
That's what I'm saying.
Take the poll.
That's what I'm saying. I saw this article recently where this young lady, this young mother, was arrested and charged because she left her children in a Motel 6 because she had to go to work. And I'm like, she had no choice. She didn't have the option of leaving the workforce because of COVID. She was down on her luck. They're living in a motel. And she's like, I gotta go to work.
Right.
Now, if she decided not to work and live off of the government assistance, then it'd be an issue.
It would be an issue.
But she's like, I know this is wrong, but I got to do what I got to do to take care of my babies. And you going to arrest her?
Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
And this is what we're talking about when we talk about black women in the workplace. We don't get a break. When do we get a break? We can't show up as our authentic self.
No.
We got to conform. We're asked to conform. I'm getting upset because this is like, it's just the audacity.
Right.
Right.
But we cannot be ourselves when we go to work.
No, we can't.
Wake up and go to work as we are. We have to change so much.
So much.
To save other people's feelings.
Yes. And I'm going to say that you can be your authentic self if you choose to be. But there are sometimes consequences depending on where you work.
And repercussions.
I work at which should be a very progressive, for all the government agencies that are out there, this should be the most progressive one because it deals specifically with the artistic community. Mm-hmm. But I will tell you, it's probably one of the most conservative, most divisive, it's just, it's apparent that there is a divide. I'll just say that.
Or aloofness as well, because people have no clue.
Yes, it's very traditional. I had an employee when I was a supervisor who came to work, and people used to comment on the way she dressed all the time and said she dressed like a stripper because she would come into work with these like 5-inch heels and weaves almost halfway down to her ass. Now I would say, if that's how she chose to dress, then that's fine. But I know between that and her perceived personality and attitude, it prevented her from getting a lot of opportunities in the workplace. Right. A lot of opportunities in the workplace. Like you said, because we have a difficult time being our true selves.
Yes.
I learned the hard way. I tried to be my true self at work. It's not, nobody wants you to be your true self.
No. They want you to show up presenting as a role.
Yes.
And now playing the role of.
You can't be, there's the infamous angry black woman stereotype.
That part right there.
I have to navigate how I'm going to, have a conversation with you and be mindful of how I'm having a conversation with you.
How you use your hands.
Because how I use my hands, because it could be seen as threatening.
Or ghetto if you use your hands too much.
Yes.
Which it's either threatening or it's ghetto. It's never just I'm using my hands to express myself.
Hyper confrontational. And these are all the origins of the angry black woman comes from the 1800s, mid 1800s, the sassy black mammies. Yes. She was tart tongue and emasculating. That carried through. I mean, you may not think of it, but Florence from the Jeffersons.
Yes.
Is the version of the sassy black mammy.
And before that, Gone with the Wind.
Yes.
She could always, say something. Oh, girl.
I mean, and this is perpetuated even by us.
Yeah.
It becomes a trope. Like, look at Shanae.
Yes. Very much so. Or, yeah. It's amazing to me how that. And I mean, and that particular character becomes endearing to people. So they just automatically attach to that. And then the whole girl, you crazy. And then people take that and think that they're relating to us with girl, you go girl. Hey girl. Yes. Hey girl. Hey.
Yeah.
I don't think so. No, he did.
I don't think so either.
No, he did it. And we're like, I don't talk like that.
No.
But okay.
Hello, I don't talk like that, right?
Right. I don't talk like that.
There are you look at it and it's just like these perceptions get played out in the workplace. White women are stereotypically seen as communal and pleasant and caring and differential, and they're so concerned about others, right? And so when they get into leadership positions, they're just trying to avoid being seen like that. Because if they are seen as communal, then they're seen as being an ineffective leader.
Right.
But if we are not typically ever seen as communal, but we're always seen as aggressive and assertive and having an attitude. If I express my opinion and I'm passionate about it, like right now, if I was talking this way at work, I wouldn't be seen as being passionate about the topic that we're speaking of. I would be seen as being aggressive or having an attitude
about it, just because of your body language, because of how you express.
Just because, and I'm gonna tell you, I had a white manager, probably one of the best managers I ever had. This woman took shit off of no one. She was scary. She was like Attila the Hun in the office. Men were scared of her. And I I would see her reduce people to like nothing.
Oh, damn.
And I had a conversation with her, and she told me that she had to be this way because she was the first woman, period, in her field for such a very long time that she had to command and demand respect.
Wow.
And I explained to her that's not, and she tried to instill that in me, but I would buck every time. I said, but I can't be that way because I can't do what you do. I couldn't come into a room. And she couldn't understand it. For the life of me, I don't understand why she could not see why I could never, although I aspired to be that, I could never do that because it would never be seen the same.
Ever. And there's no way that people relate to that.
Never. So, you know, it's then that plays into our promotion potential.
Or lack thereof.
Right.
Because people don't see us like that. And they're like, oh no, they're going to be a troublemaker. They're
Hello.
not going to be able to relate to our clients, or they're going to turn people off. And we don't want anybody to think that, you know, we have the whole angry Black, that we don't have that communal, kid gloves type of let me stroke their ego to get the business, which lends itself to being deferential or not.
And then when we talk about that, then it's competition between us because it's like, can there be more than one smart Black woman in the office? I'm going to tell you no. And I'm going to tell you that sometimes it's more us doing it to ourselves.
Yes. The psychological cost for that.
Right. And you navigating that is very hard. It's very difficult, especially when we're dealing with, sometimes we're the only ones in the room and you would like to have support and you would like to have support from someone who looks just like you. And sometimes we can't get that because we all have fed into, it's like the crab in the barrel mentality. We have fed into the belief that there can only be one of us at the top. White people don't do that.
No.
Well,
Well, in the advertising, they haven't done it in their own ways and stuff, and I've seen it at work.
They bring each other on board if they can.
The nepotism is real.
Yes,
nepotism is real in the old boys network and all of that. Now, not every workplace is like that. My workplace is very diverse. It still has some, as with anything, quirks here and there, but where everybody may look the same of a particular level and still be able to lift each other up. Now, seemingly that being in corporate academia and now the government, that is an anomaly in a lot of ways, to speak to what you're saying about there's only one or two of us and then it's a competition. And then we're kind of pitted against each other to a degree because we try to make that quota. And whether and so what do you do? I mean, you want to be judged on your merit and how much you can actually contribute, and you can contribute.
Right.
To that. But
I mean, and we know that there are many layers to the workplace, but Black women are always at the bottom. They just are. And go look at your workplace right now. They just are, especially if you look at how some of the government structures are set up. They just are. And we go back to hair. Yeah. Right. A lot of people do pass judgment on our hair, and that does play a part in promotion potential. It plays a part on being hired. We've seen it. Even in outside of the typical work environment, we have children who can't go to school with dreads in their hair. What does that have to do with their education?
That is insane. Nothing. I used to work in a place, and this lady came in with her hair pressed out or blown out. Normally it's a little afro. I had one of my other coworkers that was an elderly white woman come up to my office and say, "Oh, did you see so-and-so? She looks so professional today." And I'm like, does she not look normally professional every day? Because where we worked was the type of office you had to be professional anyway. So I don't know where that came from. And then she's like, "Yeah, stop by her office. Her hair looks great." And I'm thinking, okay. I go and because her hair was pressed out. It was a buzz. Like literally, that was a conversation in the office. And
that's ridiculous.
That's insane. Granted, this is the same woman that when I went to work with a mud cloth and a gele on my head, which is a head wrap, she said, "Oh, don't you look cute like you just came off the banana boat?" So I'm just giving context right here. So yeah, and in her mind, she was giving a compliment. Like, oh, you just got out the banana, but you look cute. I was like, now I'm in the workplace. I have a decision to make.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, we can't, I think, if you look at it, I think that these stereotypes and these beliefs all come from things that are misunderstood, misrepresented. You know, I remember having a conversation where someone mentioned a coworker had like a little, like you said, an afro, like a blowout, right? But it wasn't like your typical afro, like an Angela Davis afro from the 70s. It was like a twist out kind of. And they made a comment like about the Black Panther movement. What? And that's what I'm saying. You have these conversations with people and you're like, now, mind you, they didn't say it to me. They said it to me indirectly. And I was like, let me just get my black ass up. Because
it's going to go, if I say something and I respond.
It's going to go left.
Right. And then if they say that and then they reach out and touch your hair. I grew up with that because I went to all white school. And every time I came in with my hair plaited up, somebody would be like, oh, can I touch your hair? Before I could even say no, their hands were in my hair. And my mother had dropped.
Told you all, bitches, don't touch my hair, okay?
Touch my hair.
Keep your hands to yourself.
We are not a petting zoo.
No.
We are not a petting zoo. I don't understand like that. I said talk about that at one of my presentations, and this lady came up to me. She was like, "Oh,
but why does our look? Why does that have to even be the center of a conversation? Why do you have to comment on how I look, period?
Every day, though.
It annoys me. It annoys me. You don't have to comment on my hair. You don't have to comment on anything about how I'm presenting myself to the world. Am I doing my job?
Thank you.
Let's talk about that. Because it don't matter. I come with a buzz cut. Is that going to prevent me from doing my job well?
No, it will not. And it makes people uncomfortable. Like it does. I don't know why you get compelled to say anything at all. Just keep it moving.
And it makes you kind of want to dim your light at work, right? And we do that a lot. A lot of us become lesser versions of ourselves at work,
right?
More demure because we feel like we have to make other people feel comfortable around us,
right?
No, I'm not. Why do I have to make you feel comfortable around me?
I don't want to offend you.
How am I making you uncomfortable by being my authentic self? So me being my true self is somewhat an affront to you?
I don't see how. How's that your business?
We feel like these things can hurt our professional advances and chances at work. So we dim it down. We bring it down. We bring it down. We bring it down.
Yeah. To assimilate as much as we can as what perceived assimilation to be non-threatening to get ahead for what we want.
Right. But, you have these conversations. If this is what kills me, you dim yourself at work, but then you're in conversations with these same people like, oh my God, I love Beyonce. She's just so fierce. And the way she just carries herself and exudes that. These are the same people you have these conversations with at work.
Yes.
Oh, I love Rihanna. She don't give she's just who she is. And I love that about her. Can I come to work like Rihanna? No. Can I come to work like Beyonce? No.
You could. I don't know if you still have a job, but you could. But you could. Because I seen some people coming in thinking it was Bay Day. No. That.
Can you come to work like Cardi? No.
No. You can't go on her job. You can go to her job however you want, but you can't come to your job with the way.
But see, and even with that, I say that and we laugh. But if you ever listen to Cardi B talk when it really matters about the things that are most important, she really knows what the hell she's talking about. And the crazy part is, what was that song that she had? Oh no, she had said something about going to the gynecologist and getting. She talked about Planned Parenthood and going to the gynecologist and getting your shit checked out. Right. And politicians were basically taking that clip These were like senators and representatives were taking that clip and putting it on their platform as a way to promote funding Planned Parenthood.
Oh my goodness.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, but because of how she presents herself to the world, people don't want to take her seriously.
Unfortunately.
And why is that?
Right. And she's standing on her truth.
Right.
Not bothering anybody.
Right. But Miley Cyrus out here twerking with a stuffed animal, and I guarantee you they're going to give her a platform to talk about whatever it is that she wants to talk about, and they'll take her seriously.
Very much so, regardless of all the other stuff that's going on.
And that is why a lot of people, like, okay, for example, like even with Taraji Henson, like, she's in Hollywood. Even though Hollywood is supposed to be this liberal, very, inclusive environment, they're not. No. And Taraji out here, like, I'm going to change my hair color every other day. I'm going to wear a wig down to my ass, or I'm going to have a short crop. And I dare you not to give me a role just because I'm from, and she's kept it DC. Yeah.
She's kept her authenticity. And I'm sure that has prevented her from accelerating as fast as she could.
For some, yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure, which is, if you look at it, Halle Berry and Halle Berry had the same manager. Oh. Just saying. I mean, Halle Berry has since become more black. I don't know what happened, but don't come for Halle Berry, girl, because she will at you in the Twitter section, okay? Don't come for Halle. Quick pass. She is not to be played with anymore. But I'm just saying, Halle was seen as the go-to girl when it came to black women.
Right?
Right?
Yeah, that workplace was set up like that.
That's what I'm saying.
It's just, there was no other way to infiltrate unless it was one or the other.
Exactly.
And then you think about that.
Yep.
Where does that leave you?
On how you tell us.
Where does that,
you tell us where it leaves us.
It leaves us being up at the top by our damn selves. Trying to fight for a spot that is open to 11 people. Mm-hmm. And we have to fight for that one spot. So how do organizations, how do you as employees help to build a better workplace for us as black employees? Of course, we're talking about these things and adding some levity to it, but having these conversations with our coworkers sometimes needs to be had. And if you have an ally in your workplace, there's a couple allies that I've had based on the field that I work in, where we're a lot more lax in our conversation because of the healthcare that we provide and the topic areas. So a lot of things that we talk about probably wouldn't fly in a lot of workplaces. But we do have some advocates and people that were in advocacy organizations before they came into our workplace. But I say that because in our workplace, we have allies that will be like, you're white, you can't say that to other white people, because there's a partnership that had to be developed that I know and they know that if I were to say what they said, and they understand this in their wokeness, I guess, if we want to call it that if I say something, I'm going to be shot down. They know the repercussions. It's going to be walked over or something to an extent. But if they say it for whatever reason, they can get away with it, but they will tell their fellow white person, and I've seen this, you can't say that. That is not appropriate. We're white. You know what our privilege is. Do you understand how this works? And in those situations, that can help create a better workplace if you have an ally, and have those conversations. And sometimes people feel some type of way because if they see that person that doesn't look like them talking, they may feel like it's like a double-edged sword. Well, I can't really take what they're saying seriously because they're not me. But at the same time, it would help to align with them. So that it is a partnership. Mm-hmm. So that, and having those conversations on inherent bias or bringing those things to the forefront with your human resources folks. Mm-hmm. Where are we on the diversity and inclusion platform for this organization? And of course, that includes everyone across the gamut. But there are certain things that in diversity and inclusion may be hiring more women, not necessarily the breadth of cultures and what have you. You know what I mean? Right. So then it may be like, well, we've met our quota. So how can you say we're not diverse? And it's beyond that, one step beyond that for us when we try to get hired. That folks they don't have to think about it because that's not their reality. So how do you, just making you kind of think about those things, have those conversations with your coworkers And if they approach you about something, don't pop off in the stereotypical way. What you mean? How you don't know that? Because it's a teachable moment. It is a teachable moment.
Yes, yes. Oh, well, this was a lot. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break and then come back with our last sip of the day. And we're back with the last sip of tea with your hood Dalai Lama. And I am your hood Dalai Lama. I don't have a quote for this week, but I did want to leave you with a few thoughts because of what we've been talking about today. You know, ageism, sexism, racism, that all still exists in the workplace. And everyone wants to be in an environment where we feel valued. But Black women have an especially difficult time navigating spaces at work where they feel undervalued, overlooked, and unsupported. So employers should be proactive in creating better workplaces for the minority professionals who are already employed by the company and institute a more equitable hiring process to attract qualified candidates of all backgrounds. You know, an environment where minorities, especially Black women, can bring their authentic selves to work, boost engagement, and helps employees contribute more to the organization as a whole. And, you know, with all that happened last year, with the protests, with the elections, with the attempted coup, pay attention and move accordingly. You know, don't be afraid to seek out a culture that accepts you. Don't be afraid to step away from that workplace that isn't serving you. You know, if you feel like the employer that you are working for doesn't value you as a Black woman in the workplace, and you feel that there's another company that will, don't feel loyal, go ahead and leave. Because the overall theme that we have is about self-care and protecting your peace, and that is a perfect way to do it. And that is it. That's the last sip of tea with your hood Dalai Lama.
Amen and snaps on that one. Thank you for joining us this week on Sippin' Tea with Nat Z. Again, you can follow us on Instagram at sippintea_Nat_pod and on Facebook at Sippin' Tea Nat Z. To get information on upcoming podcast topics, guest news, drop us a line, your comments, what you like, what you want to discuss. And as you know, we will be transitioning to our new schedule of releasing episode every 2 weeks. So join us for our next episode where we will be beginning to celebrate Women's History Month and all the goodness that we as women bring to it. Thanks, y'all.